Welcome to another installment of Deconstructing Babylon, where we discern the signs and symbols of the mystery religion of Hollywood Babylon. I'm the Discerning Clerk, and I use a biblical framework to deconstruct 90s movies in particular on this channel. I'm also a huge proponent for owning the physical media of the movies you love. I appreciate the streaming services, but they did put the video store experience out of business. They also act as a constant content machine, putting out subpar stories in digital format only. And for me, as a collector and cinephile, I rely on the quality films on DVD for entertainment. Today we are deconstructing the Oscar-winning, career-making, coming-of-age drama Jerry Maguire. IMDb gives it 7.3 out of 10, and the Video Movie Guide gives it a whopping 4.5 out of 5. I wonder if any film garners a full 5 stars in this book. Writer-director Cameron Crowe scores a touchdown with this frothy comedy drama, which successfully mixes perceptive social commentary, witty dialogue, and a genuinely touching love affair between stars Tom Cruise and Renee Zellweger. He's an ultra-slick sports agent who one night realizes that quality should be more important than quantity. She's an agency secretary and a single mother who impulsively comes along when he abandons the fast-lane lifestyle for his own firm. He has but one client, an Arizona Cardinals wide receiver, Cuba Gooding Jr. delivering an Academy Award-winning performance with as much attitude as natural talent. At least 3 major storylines occupy this picture, and Crowe keeps a firm handle on each. Rated R. Cameron Crowe, as a writer-director, tends to be semi-autobiographical in his films. Perhaps he sees himself in the lead character. But let's see what we see in 1996's Jerry Maguire. The first image we are shown is the globe Earth, glowing blue for some reason, and the voiceover tells us the Earth's population is almost 6 billion, which means it's increased by more than 2 billion people in less than 30 years. That's pretty remarkable. Various youths play various sports as we are first introduced to Frank Cushman, the #1 NFL draft pick that year and Jerry Maguire's most important client. Who's Jerry Maguire? Sports agent extraordinaire who works hard, never sleeps, doesn't stop.
I will not rest until I have you holding a Coke, wearing your own shoe, playing a Sega game, featuring you while singing your own song in a new commercial starring you, broadcast during the Super Bowl in a game that you are winning, and I will not sleep until that happens.
And even though Jerry is literally living his best life, he expresses a creeping discontentment he's been feeling.
Who would I become? Just another shark in a suit?
Jerry is given a dream, almost a baptism of sorts, and he wakes up wet with sweat and proceeds to write a manifesto. He calls it a mission statement, and he puts out the manuscript as a corporate memo, and it unwittingly blows up his perfect life.
How long do you give him?
About a week.
We quickly meet Dorothy Boyd and her precocious son, Ray.
While I go look for him, why don't you grab this curious gentleman right here?
Jerry's perfect life includes the perfect wife, well, fiancé. Avery Bishop is a stunning, sexy redhead who is set to marry him. She knows Jerry well and seems determined enough for both of them.
He cannot be alone.
He can't be alone.
Jerry can't be alone. We are told almost immediately of his codependent tendencies. Maybe Avery believes she can change him, or perhaps she doesn't want to. The next day at the office, it's business as usual when we meet Marcy Tidwell, whose husband Rod is one of Jerry's forgotten clients.
When you know we deserve the big 4: shoe, car, clothing line, soft drink.
Can we just have a moment for the magnificent Regina King, who was actually pregnant for filming? Bob Sugar, Jerry's rival agent and former mentee, acts as the villain, for the first half anyway.
You know what I went through, knowing I was gonna have to fire my mentor?
He seems to delight in the downfall of his colleague and cohort as he disagrees with Jerry's sentiments of quality over quantity. And in an agency race for clients, Jerry ends up with one, Rod Tidwell. When we first meet Rod, he is shown as the opposite of Jerry, yin to his yang, so to speak. And the duality is pretty evident. Many times throughout this film, characters are shown in front of a prominent sign with important words. Here, Rod is shown in this circle of light as he proclaims he is a sun devil.
I'm a sun devil, man!
As if these athletes aren't signed to the agency in general and not an agent in particular, Jerry's lucky to get even one.
Congratulations, you're still my agent.
On his way out of his corporate job, Jerry takes a goldfish and Dorothy Boyd with him, willingly, of course.
I will go with you.
I mean, I guess the goldfish had less of his say. Dorothy shows blind loyalty to Jerry for some reason. She's inspired by his mission statement. Her faith in him is entirely misdirected, though. Avery seems to take the news well, and she even suggests Jerry fight for Cush, his #1 draft pick. Cush doesn't really make the decisions for himself, but his dad, Matt, does. This roundabout between father, son, and agent is meant to convey excitement, I guess, but it's definitely visually interesting. But the confusion of this scene combined with the words being spoken.
What you do have is my word. And it's stronger than oak.
Actually becomes foreshadowing for later. Jerry travels to the draft to represent his only 2 clients, one a superstar, the other a near has-been. The latter gets a walk through the lobby as Jerry spits facts and stats, hyping him up to himself and others.
Hey! That's right.
Rod only wants to stay and play in Arizona because he's also raising his family there. Cush, on the other hand, is subject to the highest bidder and will play for the team that pays him the most.
San Diego just came in with a last-minute scenario. It's big.
Jerry is double-crossed by this father, his loyalty also being bought by the almighty dollar.
We signed an hour ago.
In the end, Bob Sugar manages to snake all but one of Jerry's clients, and that seems to be the end of his villainy. Avery is upset to learn that her typically successful fiancé is floundering. She reminds him that there is no loyalty, but she will be loyal to him through this. Remember when I said that signs are often prominent in the background? The same sign appears behind both of these strong powerhouses. Though Jerry seems the weaker one, he's the one with the power when he ends things with Avery. So Jerry flies back, defeated and depressed, and since he can't be alone, he goes to Dorothy's house.
You know, that loan thing is not my specialty.
Jerry is at least self-aware of his codependency, but his codependency is not directed towards a romantic partner. Rather, he needs a father figure.
I'm trying to raise a man.
Jerry finds something resembling what he needs in young Ray, though he's not well equipped for it.
No, wait, because I want to tell you more about my dad.
Dorothy laments being a young widow and privately desires more intimacy with Jerry, her boss. Though he doesn't reciprocate her feelings unless he's under the influence. She somehow always maintains professionalism with her words.
I'm like harassing you right now.
I may not too.
And we know Rod is the fiercest wide receiver in the league.
Catch, man! Good catch! Great hand!
He plays for the Arizona Cardinals, a winter bird in the desert. He wears number 85, which doesn't have any biblical meaning that I could find. I find it interesting that it was such a prominent number in the last film I reviewed, The Wedding Singer. So it must have an esoteric or occultic meaning. Anyway, Jerry needs to get Rod the best contract he can, both for his client and for the sake of his small company. But the coach isn't willing to deal. He doesn't doubt Rod's loyalty, but his prideful attitude prevents him from really being part of the team.
It wasn't just about the money, was it? Was it? Was it?
So Jerry flies back home with no deal and no idea how to get a deal.
Unless you love everybody, you can't sell anybody.
This advice comes from Jerry's deceased mentor, Dickie Fox, a man he considered a father figure as well. But it sounds like something the Apostle Paul wrote in his first letter to the church in Corinth, that he would become all things to all people that some might be saved. It's not good advice for someone who was already codependent, and in his loneliness, Jerry inadvertently pursues Dorothy and subsequently Ray.
Give me a hug.
Dorothy's words to Jerry continually affirm she only wants a professional relationship with him, but her actions and behaviors are the complete opposite. And Jerry seems almost spellbound as he seduces Dorothy on her front porch. They come together, but they are not the two pillars. So the next morning is rather awkward, but it compels a rather odd confession from Dorothy.
Maybe I am taking advantage. marriage. Does that make me a bad person?
Yes, it does. Regardless of what she believes she is owed in life because what has been taken from her, she doesn't get to use Jerry for her own comforts. Rod and Marcy fly from Arizona to be there when the offer comes in. It's not good news in their minds.
We determine our worth.
And for Dorothy, her worth is also not being met by Jerry's inadequacies, and she makes it seem like she's moving to San Diego to take another job.
What if we got married? If I said that, would you stay?
Was this her plan all along? The void in her life is for a provider, and a husband would certainly fill that void.
Do you, Jerry Maguire, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife?
No, not yet.
And do you, Dorothy Boyd, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband?
Almost.
Did you catch that? They both said no to their vows. Since the contract was unacceptable for Rod and Marcy, he decides to finish out his contract with the Cardinals and become a free agent. A well-designed montage plays out as Rod continues to take harder hits, but nothing humbles him, and he continually blames others.
You play with your head, not your heart.
We get the sense we're walking on eggshells with Jerry and Dorothy. Neither of them can answer the question why they love the other, but they do know why they chose to get married.
I took advantage of you. And the worst of it is that I'm not alone. I did this with a kid.
How did her first husband die? She said he was not so nice to her. She's more than a manipulator. She's a man-eater.
What do you want?
I don't know.
My soul or something?
Well, why not? I deserve that.
So we finally get to the climax of the film. It's Christmas, it's Monday Night Football, and Marcy even had her baby, and also manages to host friends and family 3 days later. What a woman. It's a make or break game for the team, for Rod, and for Jerry.
My whole life is this family, Jerry, and it does not work without him.
And after this hit to the head, emerges a new man, suddenly like the Grinch whose heart grew 3 sizes that day. John 3:16 is one of the most well-known verses in the Bible. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son. Whosoever believes in him would not perish but have eternal life. So here we see the Sun Devil resurrected to his own glory. He isn't humbled, he's honored. So what's really changed?
You know, men are the enemy.
Thank you. No, they're not the enemy.
But I still love the enemy.
Men are not the enemy. The enemy is the enemy. And this ridiculous narrative that pits men and women against one another, just another scheme of the enemy.
I miss my wife.
This is so performative. It works because a group of bitter women watch as one of their own gets what she wants. It may as well be a coven. Jerry doesn't share things with Dorothy. He doesn't laugh with her. Their time together isn't easy. It's Ray. Jerry is close with Ray. He laughs with Ray. He loves Ray. Ray completes him. The trio walk hand in hand as the movie ends with the last line delivered posthumously by Jerry's mentor.
I love my life, and I wish you my kind of success.
And what kind of success is that? The Video Movie Guide told us there were 3 storylines happening in this film, and as usual, the Video Movie Guide is inaccurate with its words. I would suggest that there are at least 3 themes taking place within one complex storyline. I identified Jerry and Rod acting as the 2 pillars of Freemasonry. The duality of the characters is shown as sun and moon as usual. Rod is the sun devil who lives in the desert. Jerry is the moon, the inconstant moon, ever changing in his emotions. He lashes out irrationally, speaks with a silver tongue, and gives no warmth. When the sun and moon do come together at the end, it's an embrace amidst a light show of bulb flashes like an eclipse. Dorothy is often used as an allusion to the Wizard of Oz, the Babylon icon of mind control. Likewise, her older sister Laurel's name evokes images of a crown of leaves, meant for bestowing honor, but I think here is another symbol for mind control. I believe these 2 to be witches acting against Jerry in order to get Ray a father. Wow. I just said that. I will remind anyone watching these are just my opinions, Everything I do is for entertainment purposes only. These are fictional characters in a fictional movie, and none of this really matters. But back to Dorothy. I never realized before how many times she confesses to taking advantage of Jerry and using Ray to do so. She's the villain in the second half, make no mistake. The final theme I identified has to do with fathers and sons, aside from the obvious relationships portrayed, including Cush and Matt, and even Rod and Tyson. It's clear that Jerry, as a flawed character, is paternally codependent, and it's unfortunate that it's never realized by him or vocalized to him. He feels abandoned by his real father, and his replacement father/mentor dies, and so is again abandoned. He attempts to fill the void with romantic relationships and even work to a degree. It's only when he steps into the role himself is the void of his own loneliness filled with a son. The theme of loyalty also comes up a lot. This isn't really a topic or word I've studied in the Bible until now. The definition of loyal always includes the word faithful. So why doesn't loyal appear in the Bible if it's about having faith? I think because the root of loyal is legal. There's a legality to loyalty. We are loyal to king and country. We are loyal to spouse and boss. We even consider our faith being loyal to the church or even God. Yet it implies a lack of love. We are faithful because we have to be, not because we want to be. What are your thoughts? I'd love to know in the comments. Thank you so much for enduring to the end. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it and a thumbs down if you didn't. Subscribe if you want to, but don't follow me. Follow the only one who saves you. And until the next one, keep looking up.
I had 2 slices of bad pizza, went to bed, and grew a conscience.